Hello, my name is Mrs. Gavin, and I have the pleasure of reading to you today from a book entitled Panther Dream, a story of the African rainforest. This book is pretty long, so I have divided it into two parts. I'll read part one for you today, and then part two during another session. This book is both interesting and exciting as we get to follow a young African boy who tries to solve a problem for his family. See if you can identify some of the African animals we encounter as I read. Let's get started. Panther Dream, a story of the African rainforest. This book is written by Bob Weir and Wendy Weir, and the illustrations were provided by Wendy Weir. A Panther Dream. It is mid-afternoon in the African rainforest. There is no breeze. The air is hot and humid. The mass of shaded green is broken only by shafts of light filtering down through the trees to the forest floor. The whir of cicadas and buzz and scrape of insects penetrate the stillness. In the middle of the rainforest is a small farming village where Locali, a young boy, and his family live. He is not allowed to enter the rainforest because the villagers believe it is full of evil spirits. They are content to trade their crops of bananas, peanuts, and corn with the forest-dwelling pygmies for wild meat and honey. Today, Locali is worried. He had heard his father talking to another man from his village. Soon we will need more meat for our families. The pygmies have no meat to trade. So they say the Katai, the forest spirits, have hunted it first. What will we do? Locali goes in search of his grandmother. Many years ago, she left her pygmy home in the forest to live with his grandfather in the farming village, but she has never forgotten the ways of the rainforest. Often she tells him wonderful stories about her childhood. How can there be evil spirits in the rainforest, Locali wonders, if my grandmother lived there? Locali finds his grandmother grinding corn behind their mud hut. He squats next to her. Grandmother, tell me what it was like to go hunting when you were a young girl. Dear Locali, she replies, I have told you that story many times. Why do you want to hear it now? It is my favorite. Please, grandmother. She looks at him curiously and begins. When I was young, Locali, whenever we needed meat, the whole tribe would go on a hunt. We would track the duiker and small antelope deep into the forest. Sometimes when we got close, we would find one of their carcasses in the tree branches. When I was a little girl, my father would laugh and tell me it had flown there like a bird. As I got older, I learned that a panther or leopard had killed the animal and stored it there to eat. When we arrived at a good spot, some of my tribe would stretch a big net across the forest floor between trees and bushes. Others would take spears and walk farther into the forest. After a while, they would turn around and come back towards the net, making lots of noise. The small antelope and duiker would be scared by the noise and run away from the hunters. As they ran into the net and became trapped, the hunters would kill them with their spears and prepare the meat to take them home. Then the whole tribe would rejoice and thank the forest for her gifts. My father was a great hunter. I keep his spear in my hut. Grandmother Locally exclaims, How I'm going to go hunting just like you. Father says that our village needs meat, but he and the other farmers are afraid of the forest. I am not afraid. Can I use your spear? I am glad that you are so brave, my child, she replies, but you do not know how to hunt, and your father has forbidden you to enter the forest. He will be very angry with you. Locally knows this is true, but he hopes if he finds meat, his father will understand. As he gets up to leave, he looks down at his grandmother. She says nothing, but the sparkle in her eyes reassures him. Locally walks quickly into his house. It is empty because his mother works all day in the cornfields with the other women. He slips on his t-shirt, grabs the spear, and runs swiftly out the door to the pygmy trail on the edge of the forest. Once on the trail, he knows no one will follow. As Locally goes deeper into the rainforest, he is startled by the screeching of a family of black and white colobus monkeys up high above. He looks up. In the canopy of trees, over 100 feet above the ground, they leap from branch to branch, using their white plumed tails for balance. Undisturbed by their movement, an African long-tailed hawk swoops down in search of small birds and animals to eat. Sensing danger, a giant forest squirrel runs for cover, while two talkative gray parrots become quiet until the hawk passes. Down in the understory, Locally sees a big black and white casqued hornbill perching on a tree limb, calling loudly to his mate nesting inside a hole in the trunk. Awakened by the noise, a scaly-tailed flying squirrel leaps from a branch to glide more than 50 feet through the air to another tree. Locally turns his attention back to the trail. Passing beneath a fallen tree, he does not notice a large black form stretched out above him. Aware of a strange scent, the panther slowly opens his eyes. He is full from eating, but is curious about the smell and looks down. Locally walks on, unaware that he is being observed by a pair of bright yellow eyes. Suddenly, he hears a noise. He knows it must be close because sound doesn't travel far in the jungle. He tries to find its direction, but the noise bounces off the trees, making it impossible to locate. It must be a huge animal, Locally thinks, pushing its way through the forest. But what is it? Where is it? Clutching his spear tightly, he looks carefully around, trying to catch some movement. The noise gets louder and louder, closer and closer. A tree branch breaks to his left. The loud crack startles Locally. Turning quickly, he sees a large lumber elephant that comes into sight. Locally runs behind the wide buttress of a tree for protection. The elephant sees the movement and stops, then turns in his direction. After long minutes of quiet, the elephant loses interest and continues on his journey. Locally breathes a sigh of relief then returns to the hunt. Under a strangling fig tree, he finds small hoof prints in the mud. The diker must be near, he whispers. With increasing excitement, he leaves the path to follow the tracks. Unobserved, two bright yellow eyes watch him pass by. The tracks cross larger hoofprints, then disappear into a clearing. Discouraged, Locali walks over to an old moss-covered tree, lays his spear against its fallen trunk, and sits down to think. Fast-moving rain clouds hide the sun, and the softness of a rising breeze lulls Locali to sleep. In the stillness, a shy okapi wanders by, eating leaves from the low branches. And I think that we're going to stop our reading for today. I look forward to seeing you again when we read part 2 of this story. Locali is now fast asleep, so when we pick the story up again, he will be continuing his journey to find food. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to see you again for part 2. Goodbye.